And welcome back to JKLIVE. This show, my goodness, it's been hot. And we're continuing. We've got Mark Bichache, Herman Manyora right here, and Bichache is still doing sign language. So let's carry on. This topic is hot. Gentlemen, thank you so much for staying on. I appreciate it. And thanks for your time. Mark, you want to say something from the start?
Yes.
Go on.
I am the father of a little girl.
Yes.
And squealing like a girl is not an abuse. Just the same way as running like a girl is not an abuse. This idea that kusema no mama is an abuse needs to stop in this country. Yeah. So the first thing I'd like to correct Miguna is it's not an abuse to call anyone a girl.
Yeah. And he rubbed that in, didn't he?
Exactly.
He rubbed that in.
My beautiful little girl can squeal all she wants. She's still as cute as ever. Let's just be clear on that one. No, seriously, that's wrong.
I agree.
That's wrong.
Well done.
Yeah.
Herman, good to see you.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Real quick, that exchange between Miguna and Oguna, which was kind of confusing. Miguna. What do you think?
I didn't like it, and this is on behalf of many Kenyans. I think it is really bad. You don't even need to go into details. You don't even need to ask us to discuss this. Because this is a highly watched program. This is a very serious TV station. I'm sure those who run this country are either watching or they'll be told. So we have to tell them. Government is behaving badly. What else do you get from this exchange between Oguna, my good friend, my good student, and Miguna, my friend?
Because the PR here,
the government is behaving badly,
and the sympathy vote is all swinging towards Miguna.
And let's just assume Miguna was wrong. Would government allow itself to be dragged down there in the mud and dirty itself there? No. People are laughing at us.
Yeah. The question you must ask yourself is between the government and Miguna, who's the pig? And who's lowering who? Okay? And whoever has been lowered to the level of the pig is losing. Now, let's be clear. If indeed the Republic of Kenya had conditions for Miguna to enter this country, it would only be fair that before he came into the country, as he announced the whole of December to his comrades and his resistance army to prepare for his arrival, then he should have been told on Twitter, if possible, that listen, for you to come back into this country as a person who's on red alert, please ensure you visit the nearest Kenyan embassy in Canada before you board the flight. That would be the fairest thing to do. To give these instructions to him post facto only makes the government look a bit insincere in its approach, albeit that they may have a bit of legalese to hide behind, but the way it has been done is putting a lot of egg on face on the government. That said, did Miguna offend the law? The truth is he did, and I'll tell you why. Number one, he ran for governor in this country without denouncing his Canadian citizenship. That is an illegality. In fact, it's an affront to Kenyan democracy. If you are a dual citizen, you cannot then run for governorship. So he offended the law in that regard. Does he need to apply for dual citizenship? Yes, he does. But the other question is Miguna an offensive apple? Yes, he is. But he is our apple. He is the black sheep of our family. He is Kenyan. We made him and brewed him and brought him up in Kenya. He is our problem. Therefore, Kenyans are right in asking that Miguna should be allowed back. And let's see how resistive he is when he's on the streets of Nairobi.
Yeah,
I think there's look here. Once Kenyanness, your Kenyanness is not negotiable. It cannot be withdrawn under international law by anybody, by any agent, by any institution. Trump cannot even withdraw the citizenship of an American who is an American by birth. That one, nobody has that power. So Miguna is as Kenyan as Jeff Koinange and you and I. And that must be very clear. There will be always drama and other issues, which if you go into, lawyers keep saying the law is clear and the other side say the law is clear. I don't want us to go into all those things. Yeah. But listening to Oguna, you can see government is just talking like a 5-year kid, really. So even if you go to yourself into the details, government will still be wrong, whichever way you look at it. Yeah. Because if you talk about anything, he was already on flight. So it's not about him boarding a flight. He's already on flight, coming. He's been stopped while he's on flight coming. You see, so it is a question of entry. So everything is in the government's hands, nobody else. It's the government that can withdraw the red alert. It's the Kenyan government that can allow him in. Because once you have been delivered the airport in Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, the airline has nothing to do with you. Yeah. It is the Kenyan government that lets you in or not on terms that are internationally acceptable, and which includes even if you lost some documents on flight, if they are connecting flights. This happens all the time. You wouldn't come to Kenya? You will come in Kenya. They will give you access to the country. Yeah. Yeah. It happens every time.
Maybe Miguna, Bichache, maybe Miguna shouldn't have tweeted that picture of him inside the plane saying, next stop, JKIA. Maybe he should have just gotten in.
But government is bigger than Miguna. Government shouldn't listen to those kind of antiques.
We need to understand one thing. Yeah. We need to understand one thing. Miguna has, one, the mercy of the people on his side, and number two, he has court rulings and the law on his side. Let's just be clear from the get-go. But Miguna has other points to make. He has political and personal scores to settle. Okay? And therefore, we must understand there is no possibility in heaven or hell that Miguna was going to enter this country without looking for the drama he likes to have, being the drama queen he is. All right? Now, that said, you must also understand that the reaction from government is not commiserate to the kind of trouble that Miguna can bring. And you asked him a valid question and he withdrew very quickly. You asked him, where is the NRM? Because Miguna claims to be a general. Where are the foot soldiers? Realizing that he has none, he said he speaks for himself. But Miguna's agenda, and part of the reason why he will never present himself to any embassy to take documentation, is because it does not serve his purposes of another suit of his being torn in Nairobi. Let me tell my country very clearly, that is his intention. And I'll tell you for free, if I was Miguna, that's what I would look for. That's what any strategist would do. Now, for the government to give him opportunity to flaunt as he has, it's a mistake on the government's perspective. Let me tell you, the best picture the government should have allowed Miguna to have is for him to arrive at 9:45 to the grand reception of Nobody Been Zero. That is what should have happened. But given that now he's had 30 minutes of primetime TV because of drama that would have been otherwise not existent, then the government then loses that in terms of PR value. But remember, that 15 minutes of fame is the very reason Miguna announced his travel in the first place. That's what he wants.
Listening here is very painful to listen to my friend, my young friend, talking about Miguna being a drama queen. Yeah. This guy has gone through serious problems. He has gone through pain. You know what Miguna went through? You know, one day he called me and he talked to me for about an hour. He just kept stopping, short of saying certain things happened to him. This guy went through a lot of pain. You cannot reduce that to drama. No, but he has gone through really pain.
Listen.
No, look here. From the time they went to his house in... Look, I know about Miguna, and I'm not even supporting, but I'm saying from the time the Kenya government security forces went to his house in Runda, to the police stations, to the places they took him round, to the airport, to the suffering in the airport, to being pushed on a plane, to being dragged, we are told that. My friend, you can't call that drama.
Listen,
honestly, you don't need to like Miguna. You don't need to like Miguna, Jeff, to say that that is wrong.
No, but
here is a guy who has gone through a lot of pain.
You're misquoting me. If you remember Miguna on TV,
yes.
Okay,
I've been with him on TV many times.
Listen, I started by saying it is his right to be back home. Yes. And I said the government is on the wrong side of the law. Correct. And in terms of humanitarian justice, in terms of what happened to Miguna, and even withholding his passport, that does not change the very real character of Miguna when he's on TV. Look at the issue where
There's no TV here. We are talking Mark Kidogo. Mark Kidogo. What you saw, and people were even trying to say, when something has happened, others are doing something challenge. I'm not boarding.
No,
you call that drama?
No, listen. I'm not talking about.
I was on the plane.
You are there. Was that drama? Is that drama? Would you allow him to call it drama?
That's what I'm talking about. Look at Miguna when he sat on an interview with Esther Passaris. That's what I'm talking about.
No, we are not talking about that.
You cannot listen. Just because Miguna has been offended does not change him from the black sheep he is to a white sheep. Just because he's been punished wrongly so does not change his character. Let us not try to sanitize the person of Miguna just because he's been wronged. And wronged he has been. But it does not change who he is. It does not change that in an interview about him, he turned it into about Jeff Koinange. Something that he
Miguna is not a sheep, whether white or black. Miguna is a human being, he's a Kenyan, and the government is misbehaving.
Yeah.
The government is letting us down.
Okay.
You get it?
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, that's the bottom line.
Bottom line.
Yes. Yeah. We can't even go into
and
the
on
details.
that we agree.
And on that, we can
agree.
switch gears.
Yes, okay.
Because we've been talking about Miguna now for an hour and a half.
Let the government behave and stop embarrassing us as Kenyans. Yeah, by allowing Miguna in.
The truth of the matter is, for the government to save face, actually, and to win this fight, and that's why I started, who's the pig? Right? If you're going to get yourself into the mud, you've already lost the war. It does not matter whether you wrestle the pig and you pin it to 1, 2, 3. When it's done, you will be as dirty as the pig.
And now you can understand,
the government needs to do the right thing.
You can understand, before we switch over, you can now understand, Jeff, why government concentrates on such small things when Kenyans are going to bed hungry. You know how many Kenyans have gone to bed hungry today? Do you know how many Kenyans are dying today because they could not access medical facilities in this country? Do you know how many parents are agonizing with their Form 1 children today? And yet government has time for such. Honestly, it's wrong. Let's switch gears now.
Yeah.
No. I like that train of thought, by the way. I like that train of thought.
Yes.
Because again, these days everything is PR.
Yeah.
And if you get your PR wrong, it's difficult to get back on.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And now this man has won the PR war, battle, or whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
You know, so, and I asked Oguna, what do you need to do to right this wrong? Undo this.
Okay.
Let me tell you, government just simply needs to swallow its pride, swallow the bitter pill, allow Miguna to come back. We will have him on TV tomorrow. It will be a flare of a show.
I'll be with him here on the bench next week.
Yes, we will laugh and it will be done.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing to solve.
And how come it hasn't been that easy, Mark?
Because let me tell you, it seems to me that this has become a bit of a pissing contest between some people and Miguna. Right? And Miguna has this ability to continually offend no matter where he is, which is his right, by the way. The person who will take the higher road, the person who will decide to say, you know what, Miguna is offensive to me. Perhaps I don't even like him as a person. But as a Kenyan and as per our constitution, I am going to bite the bullet and I'm going to bend over backwards to make sure Miguna is in this country. That's the person who will have won. And if they're going to be advised, that's what they need to do.
Yeah. They will allow him in.
Yes.
But I read a small book by gov't, written around 879.
What was it called?
It's called Detained. A writer's prison diary. He wrote this book, by the way, on a toilet paper. Toilet supplied to him by friendly prison warders. In this book, there's some observation he makes. That when they were taking people to court, they would chain them. Not because these people are dangerous. Not because these people had any chance of escaping, but as a way of humiliating these fellows. So government wants to humiliate Miguna before they allow him in. And that is petty. It is not acceptable. It is shameful. Let the government allow Miguna in. I can tell government, if the intelligence are not telling government, Miguna will not pose any danger to government. Let them just come in. We come to a show here next Wednesday. We talk. And then we continue with our lives.
That's a good point there, Herman. Very good point. Mark, let me ask you this real quick. And, you know, this has echoes, if you will, of Bobby Wine.
Yes.
And the Museveni government next door.
Yes.
Bobby Wine, when he sneezes, when he coughs, anything he does, he gets arrested.
Yes.
Every other weekend.
Yes.
He even has a music show, he gets arrested.
Yes.
Correct.
He's a thorn in the side
And
of
Yvonne
Museveni.
Chakacha is told, go away.
But you see,
Is this the Bobby Wine moment?
no. Here's the difference. Bobby Wine actually can mobilize in Uganda. Bobby Wine is a credible threat, let me use that term, to the presidency of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. But I want to ask my government a simple question. Which MCA seat is Miguna a threat for? Which constituency can Miguna win? But if they continue like this, they will give him the clout he needs. Right? And that's the reality. As Herman has correctly said, I'm telling you, Miguna is a greater threat to the locusts we were shooting than he is to the government of Kenya. The truth of the matter is, they should just let him back into this country. But now, let me tell you, the sooner you let him back, the less threat he is, the more he'll show up on TV, give us a very flowery show, call everyone a despot, and then we will sleep easy.
Now that he has mentioned this, 1 minute before we switch, if we shall, or we just go home. Listen, Jeff, you know this country is ripe for a revolution. There are many bad things that have happened in this country for a couple of years now, that in any other normal country, there would have been a revolution, except for tribe. Because we are tribally minded fellows, and we are driven by tribe, even when the so-called despots are pushing us into death through hunger, we cannot go in, get mad enough to kick them out of power. But let me tell you now, and it's made worse by the handshake, which I support. Let me tell you something. If they continue with this little thing of Miguna, they will provide that which has been lacking. If you look at history of revolutions anywhere in the world, they are never about big things. They are never about big people. They are never about people with serious support. Rarely. A majority of these things just happen. And there's all the triggers that happen. You know Tunisia, that young man
who set himself on fire.
So we are a country that is now on edge because of the state of the economy, because of the unemployment in this country, because of the suffering Kenyans are going through. Tunavumilia sababu tunapenda kuwa wa Kenya na tunapenda serikali yetu, tunapenda Uhuru Kenyatta, tunapenda Raila, tunapenda Ruto. Tunavumilia. Lakini si kwamba we are suffering as Kenyans. And something small will happen. These guys will get into trouble. I am advising for free. They don't pay me. I keep advising them. Please don't push Kenyans. And these kind of small little things are the kind of things that have set countries on fire and destroyed empires and kingdoms and strong countries. So let's talk about something else quickly. Let's just remove Mambo Miguna.
You make very valid
where you are a known figure in this country. President Uhuru Kenyatta, I'm sure is your buddy, as we know, in those other places. Please, kando ambia unye wanamuitanga unye sangi. Tell the president this is spoiling your name. Please tell Miguna to come in. Whoever has something active with Miguna, forget about it. Let him just come in and we continue being Kenyans.
Let me underscore that point. Every country, when it's about the midterm of any presidency, they feel a lot of the pain. And any good strategy takes care of the period between elections, because in any country, even if they're doing well, the people become exhausted because that's the time they begin to measure the promises we were given, are they being delivered? Now, there's a little thing called the patriotism tax, which has been very ill-timed, because you just gave people hope in BBI that small businesses will get 7-year tax breaks. And then you say that small businesses at the same time will now begin to pay 3% turnover tax. Turnover. Now, let me give you an example. Assume you own a salon, okay? And it's January, your landlord has increased your rent. and you make about 500,000, but after you do all your payments, you've made a loss of 1,000 shillings. But do you realize because of its turnover tax, you still need to pay 3% of your lost 500,000? Now, that, my friend, is fodder for problems. But, as usual, the intentions are good. Do we need to widen our tax bracket? Yes, we do. Do we need to have more Kenyans paying tax? Yes, we do. But do we need to consider the unique circumstances within which these people find themselves? Because you'll find the person who's got his little kiosk and he makes sales of 100,000. You'll find his profit margin is 20,000, let's say if he's lucky. And in that 20,000, he's got to pay the school fees Herman is talking about. He's got to feed his family and he's got to pay rent in Nairobi. And then pay 3% tax.
That's painful.
Right? That's painful. And it is these little things that begin to bite at the population. But even worse than that is we need to stop covering Kenyan news as Kenyans as though we are Al-Shabaab. You cannot write about Kenya as though you're an enemy of Kenya. You cannot report about Kenya as though you're an enemy of this land. I'll give you a very good example. The other day, I witnessed the launch of the largest solar panel array in Eastern Central Africa. In our news, it was item number 26. I counted. You know what item number 1 was? Which MP had insulted who? No, so you tell me, when we insult each other, how is it top of the news? But when we do something great, the largest solar array, it's number 26 after Tottenham and Hotspurs beat each other.
Oh, Lord.
Come on. This is the problem with this country.
I know.
Listen,
good
if
points.
we can't give people good news, we're losing.
Forget about it. Good points. Gentlemen, let's take a look at the feedback, if you don't mind. Feedback, where are we here? Okay. Twitter is smoking today, on fire. Look who's there. The governor himself, Mike Sonko. He says, I wish Sonko Rescue Team can rescue me. He did not say that.
And then he becomes deputy.
Nice one, Governor. Nice one. Okay. Senator Ladama Olekina. Okay. He says, very sad. Today, I'm embarrassed. We need to use our common sense, not power. It will come to an end soon and Miguna will be the victor. This reminds me of when KDF lost credibility after Lenku and Karangi said, quote, the terrorists are burning mattresses. Remember that one? Westgate 2013. Okay. Wow. Tweets coming in so thick and so fast. This is Mboro Mose. You say the first step towards compliance with the court orders is for the government of Kenya, State House, to remove the quote-unquote red alert and any of the barriers. That's what court meant by ordering GOK to facilitate Miguna's homecoming.
Correct.
We all agree. Goodness gracious me. Twitter on fire. This is Nafis Mohammed. He says, I sympathize with you, Jeff, for trying so hard to bridge the gulf of difference that exists between Miguna and Oguna when neither party is willing to cede ground for the other. I felt a bit like Kofi Annan for a moment there, gentlemen.
True. Should send you to the Middle East.
No. Thank you. Kevin Kibet says, I'm made to believe Miguna is a threat to the government. It is quite ironic that the government is defying his human rights, yet they can't take him to court if he's wrong. I love the way Miguna replied the questions. This man fears nobody, huh?
Yep.
Fearless. Okay, more tweets. This is Kijana Wafax. Okay, that's his name, Kijana Wafax. He say, whether Miguna is stubborn, his rights and fundamental freedoms are still alive, or still valid, rather. He is still a Kenyan, whether the state likes it or not. Herman Manyora said that earlier on.
Correct.
He's Kenyan. Let's not debate it anymore. He's Kenyan. These are text messages, gentlemen. Let's take a look. Charles from Mukhalanya. Hey, Mukhalanya.
Hey, Mukhalanya.
I support BBI, but it will be good if the report is made clear to the people at grassroots so that they can fully give their views. That's BBI talk. I guess that's, we're going to continue. Is that it? That's it? Okay. Gentlemen, it's been a long evening.
Correct.
We'll have to come back and talk some more. Do you mind? Is that okay?
We're here, man.
For now, thanks so much for being a part of the show, man. We really appreciate it. Well done. Mark Bichache, as always. Nashukuru, bro.
Great pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
On short notice.
Good.
Herman Manyora.
Thank you. Sawa.